Hey guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to talk about DuckLake. I did a recent video on DuckDB, and in DuckDB we kind of learned about it being an OLAP, and kind of how it works. The next progression is DuckLake. So DuckLake is a data lakehouse. Data lakehouse is a really good Googleable topic if you don't know anything about it. From a high level, you have a data lake, which is basically a folder file structure where you're dropping raw files. And there's no real, you know, referential integrity there. There's no indexing. You can't do a lot of speed queries. You can't drop analytics on it. It's just a bunch of files, any type of file, audio, video, CSV, XML, all the things. On the other hand, you have a data warehouse, tabular structure, fast. You can put your kind of your BI tool, Metabase, Looker, sitting on top of your warehouse, and you get fast reads, you get time travel, you get all these nice features of, say, a snowflake that has all this kind of all these bells and whistles. So somebody said, well, instead of dropping data in a lake, moving it over, transforming it, DBT, prefect, airflow, all this transformations, all these moving, all this egress, all this cost, all this architect, all this infrastructure, all this main thing to maintain. Why don't we just find a way to put the lake, the warehouse on top of the data lake, and we drop files in, and then we query files as if they're tables, and it worked. And so the one of the newer iterations here is DuckLake. We're going to walk through using DuckDB as the catalog. In a future video, I'm going to connect it with Postgres and go a little deeper into it, but this is kind of the high level, make it work. Next videos make it better, and maybe the next videos make it pretty, right? That's how I develop things. Make it work, make it better, make it pretty. So we're going to start off. You notice my structure here is kind of light. I have a source and a test. My UV lock, I'm using UV for dependency management. It's not related to DuckLake, so you could use Poetry, you can use pip install with a requirements text file, whatever's your preferred workflow is great by me. So we're going to go through this. You'll see files created here as we spin up different parts of DuckLake and kind of get it rolling. So all that being said, let's go see what you came here for. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Duck database. Okay, so DuckDB is going to be my DuckLake. I'm not doing any magic here. I'm porting DuckDB. I have a connection that connects to this. This is idempotent. If it exists already, then it just connects to it. If it doesn't exist, it's going to create it. Let's go ahead and create it so you can see that process. You see it popped up over here. I have a DuckLake here. Then I'm going to configure it to use DuckLake. So this is how I do my method chaining. Definitely a user of pandas. Originally it was R in the tidyverse. Shout out to Hadley Wickham, made my life a lot easier when I was in my undergrad using R for mathematical and statistical computing. So I like to chain methods, but I don't like the fact that when you chain them, they go off your screen. So I kind of use this vertical pattern to chain my methods. I wrap them in parentheses so I get this nice clean ability to drop it down here. If they're not in parentheses, then your Python's going to bark at you and just tell you this isn't allowed. I'll show you. So if I do this, right, you get these immediate red squigglies that say, hold on, you're doing something wrong. So I wrap it in parentheses, and now I get this nice vertical execution. So let me walk through what I'm doing. I am installing DuckLake. I am loading DuckLake. I'm attaching DuckLake to DB DuckLake so I can use that for my catalog as my DuckLake. A lot of DuckLakes going on here. I'm going to use my DuckLake so that when I get down to the next level or next layer, then DuckLake is already attached. My DuckLake's there. I don't have to prefix anything with it, append it anywhere. It just exists. Now, if you notice I'm doing this in Python, there's a really good SQL-based tutorial on DuckDB's main site. And so what I try to do, at least in my world, is I know a lot of people do videos that follow that tutorial just so you can see it, but that tutorial exists and I followed it and it's great. So I always want to do something different. Like I don't want to just regurgitate their tutorial that they spent their time on. I always want to push people back to their site. And what I do here is I'm going to do it in Python. You could definitely do this in the DuckDB command line just by typing these codes in. You could attach a data grip to your DuckLake directly and run these codes. But we're going to run this code. We're going to see how we could do it in Python today. So I've configured to use DuckLake, and then I need to make it work. I need to make something happen. So I'm going to create a table and from a CSV file. So you may want to little things here. I do create table if not exist to make it idempotent, so I could run it as much as I want, as long as I run things around it. Right? This line doesn't change after I've created the table. Again, for demonstration purposes. So volumes external DuckLake raw samples is where I'm getting my kind of fake data on national currencies that I use just for demonstration purposes. And what this is going to do is you're going to create a table, and it's also going to create a parquet file. So you're going to see over here, once I run this, and I'll go ahead and run this, there'll be a folder over here that does DuckLake files with an actual parquet in here. So I'm a fan of the medallion architecture, just me. You can use whatever architecture you like. I don't judge architectures. We all have a reason for choosing what we choose. So I'm using the medallion. Basically, I'm just creating my bronze layer here. I'm taking my raw, dropped in as a CSV. I'm creating a table, and DuckLake is kind of creating that bronze layer for me here. So if I really, if I'm doing a semantic data layer and I'm using, say, a cube.js, I can connect to that parquet if I need to. It is queryable. It's an actual file that exists somewhere. Hopefully, if you're doing this in the real world, this doesn't exist in your repo, because that is not best practice. That is just me demonstrating things today. So let's prove to you. Let me prove that parquet files exist and are queryable. So I'm just going to execute basically a select star from any parquet, all the parquets, and execute that and show you that there is real data there. The other thing I want to do is, so you know there's no magic behind the scenes here, and I'll put a separator for the console, is I would like to show that the table's actually created and works. So I'm going to run this again, and you'll see both. Again, you could do this in data grip. You could do it in DuckDB CLI. Python is just kind of where I do a lot of my data analysis and, configuring my DBT or my Airflow or my Prefect or my Dagster. And so this is kind of my go-to language for data analytics. I need something deeper. I might grab Go. I might grab Python. I might grab Java. But for 95% of what I do is going to be SQL and Python. All right, so you now have a data lakehouse set up with DuckLake. Break it, play with it, right? That's the fun of being software engineers, data engineers. Learn things, kind of take it and do your own thing with it, see what it can do and can't do, push it to its limits a little bit, play around with it. But this is DuckLake in a nutshell. This is my introduction to it. Next video, we're going to do a little bit of DuckLake with Postgres, dig a little deeper into Medallion with it, just so I could show you how to configure some things. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.